can also sit on the grass down
Andy.
here.
Andy.
So please make yourself at home. But we will be getting started in about 5 minutes.
Perfect timing. Hi, Earl.
Hi, how are you? Hi.
So Peggy's dress, and Neil is wearing Peggy's dress too.
I should have brought a painting.
They're rents. I know. I thought I had one. Dang. I wasn't sharp enough. Hi, Henry. Earl, I couldn't hear it again.
So Betty and Larry are my parents. Right, so
This is my retirement card. What I have on it.
let's see. Oh, nice. I like that.
Thank you.
I like that.
May I appreciate it? Want to sit next to me?
Shelly keeps me in. She's the one. Stand up.
Hi, Bonnie. How are you?
I know you guys are close to me, but no.
They have tissues up front, so I can need some tissues. Grab one.
Yeah. Rented a house for years.
Thanks for coming, everybody. We'll get started in a few minutes here. There's still some chairs here, no shame. Just want to share them if the kupuna comes down and doesn't have it.
Stand in line behind my financial guy. And he said I can adopt
Because you're representing both of these parents. And the whole Richard family. Yeah. I gotta keep my eye on you. Yeah. So she's working. You want it? I don't know. She's in the family. You know, people hard to find. Put this down here to deliver to your.
Oh,
Perfect. I was going to wear my dark blue instead. I just
Melody.
no. No.
てまつる残儀残下老根残消滅上本の滅上合所オンサラバタタヤタハナマナのキャロミブッダサラナンガチャミダマサラナンガチャミサンガサラナンガチャミ Dutiyampi Buddha Saranang Gacchami Dutiyampi Dhamma Saranang Gacchami Dutiyampi Sangha Saranang Gacchami Tatiyampi Buddha Saranang Gacchami Tatiyampi Dhamma Saranang Gacchami Tatiyampi Sangha Saranang Gacchami Anatipata Vermani Skabatan Samadhyami Adina Dana Vermani Skabatan Samadhyami Ame Sumi Chachara Vermani Skabatan Samadhyami Savara Vermani Skabatan Samadhyami Surameraya Maja Pamada Dhanya Vermani Skabatan Samadhyami
Namu Jippo Fu Namu Jippo Ho Namu Jippo So Namu Daihi Jizo Bosa Shinju Kaji Joban Jiki Fuse Kosa Shiki Shingan Kai Homan Sheken Shin Sukudatsu Yumyo Suzendo Kie Sambo Tsubodai 苦行特上無常学苦毒無変人未来一切主情同法時期ノーマクサラバタッタギャタバロキテオンサンバラサンバラウンノーマクサラバタッタギャタバロキテオンサンバラサンバラウンノーマクサラバタッタギャタバロキテオンサンバラサンバラウン オマクソロハヤタタヤタヤタナタオンソロソロハラソアカノマクソロハヤタタヤタヤタナタオンソロソロハラソアカオマクソロハヤタタヤタヤタナタオンソロソロハラソアカオマクサンマンダボタナンバンオマクサンマンダボタナンバンオマクサンマンダボタナンバン ナムカコ王将の来助剣論語福知円満ナム妙色心の来波修良行円満走行ナム観音の来漢方心死霊獣家楽ナム古幕心の来陰古古代恩時期授与ナムリフイの来不死チョリガキシュア三名チリ三名三マヤエソアカ アサンメチリサンメサンマヤエソアカアサンメチリサンメサンマヤエソアカオンボジシタボダハダヤミオンボジシタボダハダヤミオンボジシタボダハダヤミオンサンマヤサトバンオンサンマヤサトバンオンサンマヤサトバン 妙ビルシャナ妙ビルシャナ無税少女せいせい過去少量上昇が上昇が平均幸不幸信じ三マヤ敬意法佐小慶者大師新生死工作修正理事復習鉄板者旧法弁事四家事小法旧所有非正改正正化霊特正常法有旧悪周長福心小異構造前小欲性益前風前理 聖世大安楽不浄三が徳司祭の差健康理金庫集約四分子温床安者理主地中寺市長国小国定非各一世安楽英知平金庫不幸三枚休憩七現世客徳一世法司祭永楽一修陸大法差聖徳養生来週金庫医実施一世上来休地金庫法差バカサト外来主会翼霊司法不合母会即法小三金庫主元潜在潜在大サッタ潜在潜在大安楽潜在潜在魔化縁潜在潜在金庫主たらかじ一子最小公者一世諸魔不能会特不法差最小幼少七特急一世将来急法差両作上思想設異例者死聖主海歓義新主公イロシャナイロシャナフイロシャナアフイロシャナアフイロシャナフイロシャナフイロシャナアフイロシャナフイロシャナアフイロシャナイロシャナアフガト諸主へ怖い民症状天衆東証信用過去患者少々天芸ご自滅罪母大インド同一小購入味ナム信用一如大発涅槃教ナム信用一如大発涅槃教ナム信用一如大発大発涅槃行順打棒道の本性は真如の大霊番は皆空であるこあるべき法もる天して憂いを生でしめ小あるものは両病死と愛のして滅へする煩悩にとらわれることは蚕の眉のごとく自爆なり身は苦しみの集まるところ怒れをこれを楽しみと戦力の正しき主意は真実道悟り執着の存在を否定する者は直ちに涅槃を称しべしこのゆえに我実存の悲願にありて苦悩を離れしめ好みこのまま常妙の楽しみを置く天が神座うつぼ大師門が明者談惑主禅長が節財特在地地が神座即身成仏無視来の未老在根生をかすところの空受罪日々ややに作るところの罪年々無部に起こすところの罪種に能力をもって皆所物戦名字は月動して極楽上老に昇前し父母家父引導して昇し農大区会を伐採せ我に恩ある千本の物上ん知識なんとのためにおいに手立てをなし皆引導して共に安上妙の国に昇前ないし四音もろもろの主上皆ごとごとく略して共に成仏せしめ 利来一心将来満足円満釈迦如来新人者利本人往生法界当場加当来教義が原神流ががぬ仏か自公が消防大仏人力理白修上発防大神修防殺業導入円弱平等大地根性将来一切の来中の幕三万ダボタナンナンサラバ小田坊寺里場キリダヤニアベシャニの幕サラバビレイソアカの幕三万ダボタナンナンサラバ小田坊寺里場キリダヤニアベシャニの幕サラバビレイソアカの幕三万ダボタナンナンサラバ小田坊寺里場キリダヤニアベシャニの幕サラバビレイソアカ女らたんの三番働く女らたんの三番働く女らたんの三番働くオンコロコロセンダリマトギソアカオンコロコロセンダリマトギソアカオンコロコロセンダリマトギソアカオンのケイジンバラキリクソアカオンのケイジンバラキリクソアカオンのケイジンバラキリクソアカオン南県ソアカオン南県ソアカオン南県ソアカ不動明軸のご霊樹ヨマクサマンダバサラダセナマカロシャダヤソワタヤカマノマクサマンダバサラダセナマダヤソワタヤンタラタカマノマクサマンダバサラダセナマカロシャダヤソワタヤンタラタカマノマクサマンダバサラダセナマカロシャダヤンタラタカマノマクサマンダバサラダセナカロシャダヤソワタヤンタラタカマノマクサマンダバサラダセナマカロシャダヤソワタヤンタラタカマノマクサマンダバサラダセナマカロシャダヤソワタヤンタラタカマノマクサマンダバサラダンカノマクサマンダバサラダンカノマクサマンダバサラダンカオンシャレイソレイソンデイソアカオンシャレイソレイソンレイソレイソンデイソアカオンカカカビサンマエソアカオンカカカビサンマエソアカオンカカカビサンマエソアカナムハチダイベザイソンテンナムハチダイベザイソンテンナムハチダイベザイソンテンオンソラソバテイエイソアカオンソラソバテイエイソアカオンソラソバテイエイソアカナム清涼大権現ナム清涼大権現ナム清涼大権現ナムカサノリ五法全身二等ドンバンベリアミタ三番目アミタ ャギャラベアミタシデアミタテイセアミタビギリンテアミタビギリンタギャミネアミタギャギャノキチカレアミタドンドヒソバレサラバラタサラニエサラバカラアキレイシャキショカレイソアカ女ミリタテイセイカラウン女ミリタテイセイカラウン女ミリタテイセイカラウンオンボケ女ボキャベロシャノマカボダラマリハンドマジンバラハラバリタヤ女ボキャベロシャノマカボダラマリハンドマジンバラハラバリタヤ女ボキャベロシャノマカボダラマニハンドマジンバラハラバリタヤナムシンニョイチニョダイハツネハンキョナムシンニョイチニョダイハツネハンキョナムシンニョイチニョダイハツネハンキョナム共同員ナム共同員ナム振動員ナム振動員ナム振動員ナム小重心員ナム小重心員ナム小重心員ナム信用教習ナム信用教習ナム信用教習ナム信用研修ナム信用研修ナム信用研修地上無変性願宗法も無変性願学の来無変性願寺五代無常性願生五時弟子上七福養上だらにおあぼきゃほじゃまにハンドマバジレイタタギャタビロキテイサンマンダハラサラウンオンアボキャホジャマニハンドマバジレイタタギャタビロキテイサンマンダハラサラウンオアボキャホジャマニハンドマバジレイタタギャタビロキテイサンマンダハラサラウンキベイ信尿一尿心願西最小不毒右上不動一度失徳理智不自心長寿三ナム信尿ナム信尿ナム信尿ナム信尿ナム信尿如来の畜は無明の長夜を照らし法書の縁源を三遊混迷を確保すここに聖聖を抜きんで二藩の妙句を捧げ今日ここに信用慶州金剛法院真相大の女においてエレクチャンの霊の世7日法医を黄金宗へこし立て祭る願わくは三世実法の諸尊大時代日の本性を垂れ愛民ぐぐなしたまえこれをもってご自身人の世襲なるびに三座者一郎のあまねく供物を捧げて亡き霊のために死死追善菩提誠上弁改良満足の御ために役し立て祭る不動明軸のご霊樹アンダバサラダセンダマカロシャダヤソワタヤンタラタカマノマクサマサラダセンダマカロシャダヤソワタヤンタラタカマノマクサマンダバサラダセンダマカロシャダヤソアタヤンタラタカマ福祉で願わくはエレクチャンの霊産後の在家を消滅して諸物の前に所持現物文法して無償にお上しあまねく無人無用一切無助会において共に不言の行願を満足せんことを並びに願わくは日々現存する試験の物言問衆となし福祉増長して菩提心お講し共に如来の消防をご自合わせてのなき霊の 国家を菩提をお祈れ。その方への功徳力をもて惜しままに一行の浄土に往生し速やかに一大円満の進化を聖徳せんことを。大根後輪だらにのまくしちりやちびきやなんさらばたたやたななんびらじびらじまかしゃきゃばじりさたさたさらてさらてたらいたらいびらまにさんばんじゃにたらまちしたぎりやたらんそわかのまくさんまんだわたなんぼろんノーマクサマンダボタナンゴロンノーマクサマンダボタナンゴロン指針へ鉱山海随記現世復元が風刺法定新症分法作病収集小位潜入風炎者利用八難西部南宿米重視草原新年に偶米偶一シスの満足腹び風楽往生静止食原食光太支部改変収支再陸道総税失定満常金高等級法県産開業域女子木部定例大非広者な部
As we transition to the second portion of this service, would you all join us in singing the Queen's Prayer? I understand most of you know the first verse, and then I will sing the last verse. Aloha kako.
Aloha.
May we gather in the spirit of love. Mahalo Blair for the beautiful Pule and Oli, and the reverends from Shinyo En for sharing that sacred tradition with us. And mahalo to Malia Ka'ai Barrett for leading us in the Queen's Prayer. My name is Kelly Hicks, and I'd like to welcome and thank all of you for joining us on this beautiful day in this very special place. As we celebrate, we all love so much Eric Keala Chun. Before we continue, mahalo nui to Peggy's dear friends Cynthia Rubenstein and Mike Sitch and Louise Ng for making this beautiful home available to us today. You may also notice this magnificent podium in front of me. This podium was commissioned by Shangri-La and handcrafted by Eric in 2018. It is one of Eric's proudest creations. Check it out. You'll see why. It is a masterpiece. The kind folks at Shangri-La moved mountains to bring this precious podium from its home at Shangri-La to Waimanalo today in honor of Eric. Mahalo Conrad, Navid, Kristen, and Jeremy. As you all know, Eric was many things: an incredible waterman, a gifted artist, a successful business owner, a model, a comedian, a farmer, a musician, and of course, a devoted father, friend, and family member. But there was another aspect of his identity that wasn't one he pursued, yet it was one he embraced nonetheless, and that was an ALS warrior. Eric took on that role with incredible courage, a fierce devotion to finding a cure, and grace and kindness to others who were also afflicted by this terrible disease. But he didn't do it alone. Like heartfelt gratitude to everyone who joined Eric and Julia's fight, from those who partnered in walks, auctions, and fundraisers to support his treatment, to the many medical professionals who cared for him. Julia has asked me to thank the medical professionals who were particularly Dr. Lauren Anderson, Dr. Andrew Jun, Katie Kemp, and Dr. Jan Jay. Thank you for everything you did to help Eric. We are profoundly grateful. For the past 3 years, Eric enrolled in a drug trial at UC San Diego. Eric and Julia visited San Diego each month over those years and developed a very close bond with the youth. We would like to thank Gil Gutierrez, Danielle Busi, Rose Previte, his neurologist, Dr. Dominic Ferre, and the wonderful UCSD nursing staff. Eric loved each of you dearly. Eric's participation in the work you are doing to find medical treatments for ALS at UCSD gave Eric hope and was deeply fulfilling. Thank you to his respiratory therapist, Crystal Hawkins. You genuinely kept Eric breathing. Thank you to Keith Miller, Taryn Davis, and Mac Negre of the ALS Association. To Eric's dear friends, Amy Hamarillo, Kyle, the Body Science Clinic in Miami. Eric loved you dearly as well. You are brilliant professionals who have dedicated your lives to treating ALS. Body Science greatly improved Eric's condition and gave him hope. Lastly, honorary mention to Eric's primary caregivers, Isabella Shazadrian, Coral Reed, and to her mother, Bonnie Whittinghill, for their tireless efforts in Eric's hands-on daily care. Isabella, Coral, and Bonnie, could you kindly stand so we can recognize you? They were there on the ground day in and day out, helping Julia care for Eric in every task of his daily living, and truly helped keep him alive. They were there through the laughter, the tears, the fun times, and the medical emergencies. They poured their whole hearts into caring for Eric, and this was no easy. The love and attention they shared in their home gave Eric great comfort and happiness. He loved each of you immensely. We'd like to thank each of those mentioned here from the bottom of our hearts. As for me, I've known and loved Eric since we were kids at Punahou, and I'd be remiss if I didn't the cohesiveness that our class developed in supporting Eric financially and otherwise in his battle against ALS. We put out calls for help, and our Punahou Ohana showed up because Eric was a beloved classmate. So in honoring our Punahou Ohana's collective love of Eric, I'd like to close my welcome message by sharing a few words from one of our classmates, Lamshan Lam. Eric Chun was the best person in my high school. Sorry to the rest of us. That sounds like a bold statement, but it's true. He was liked by everyone in our entire school, everyone. But he never, never. He was beauty, true beauty in every sense of the word. He was an artist and a musician. He created to share the beauty of the world with the world. He was joy. He brought joy to his family. He brought joy to all of us. He was gentle. He had a gentle voice and a gentle way of moving in the world. He was strong. He stood resolute in his values and his morals. He stood strong in the face of one of the cruelest of diseases. Eric Chun, son, friend, husband, father, artist, musician, waterman, and peace warrior. Simply the best. Mahalo and aloha forever.
Good afternoon. My name is Daniel Sakaguchi. I'm an old friend of Eric's. A man asks a woman at her husband's funeral, if he might say a word. She says, "Of course, please do." He comes up front, clears his throat, and says, "Ukujillion." "Thanks," she says, "that means a lot." As Eric would say, I got 1,000,000 of them, ukujillion of them. Don't get me started. What can you say about Eric Chun? That there was nobody like him? That he made life fun? That he loved to laugh and loved to dance? And he often seemed to fly by the seat of his pants? Sure, I can say stuff that you already know, like he was handsome as hell when he played the uk with his toe. Or that he loved to surf or paddle canoe, and if he had the choice, he would not wear shoes. But that's not the reason for this eulogy, so I'm about to tell you what he meant to me. I met Eric Chun in the 9th grade. He had a kind of funny haircut, I'm forced to say. It was spiky up top, longer in the back. It was a little bit cool and a lot of bit wet. He was having a bad night. It was after a dance, and the girl that he liked would not give him a chance. After he tried so hard to dress to impress, she wasn't having any of it, and he was kind of a mess. So he was tearing up a little in his Don Johnson blazer, and I was touched that he would show this side of his to a stranger. Yeah, even then you could see he wore his heart on his sleeve, a very pink, Miami Vice-looking, bunched-up sleeve. But he was earnest and guileless and genuine, and he had an openness that would invite you in. And I could tell from the start, the heart of a lion, and he had the courage to keep trying, and that's why I'm up here talking in rhymes, trying to keep it kolohe, and remind you of the times that my brother would be up here putting on an act with rap Ruplinger tunes and Run DMC raps. Because I don't believe Eric would want it any other way. And if we listen to our hearts, we can probably hear him say, "Yeah, boy." And what I'm trying to express, but maybe not so well, is that Chunzi was the best at pulling you out of your shell. Because he set an example by putting himself out there. Not like Wendel's Lala, the bugger no care. He would just make any kind and go all out. I think you all know what I'm talking about. No time to lose. Give 'em babus. Take it to the max, like on Sly Mongoose. Yeah? So I'm going to switch gears now. No more rhymes now. I mean it. Anybody want a peanut? No, I'm going to say this part a little more soberly. Eric was no stranger to grief and suffering and death. And he understood pretty young what ALS could do when he lost his Aunt Bobby so quickly. I always understood that Peggy started taking watercolor classes when she lost her twin sister, who'd been a serious artist. And so much of that abundant and fantastical output of whimsical art that we saw from Peggy Chun was born out of a sense, maybe a knowledge, of impending mortality, that life is not promised, and an impassioned and joyous response to deep sorrow. Like Peggy's series of sunflower pictures that she painted after our friend Brad Yim died. Well, like mother, like son, Eric knew too that our time on earth is limited. And his resounding response, I believe, was to play really, really hard, like he meant it, what you might call playing for keeps. Chunzi was dedicated to playing and sought to maximize joy whenever he could. As the man with the chocho lips said, you better radical out before you mucky die dead. Now, I'm not saying he was in any kind of hurry, or that he showed up early to things, or that he showed up on time to things. No, I'm saying that he squeezed every last drop, and then he knew how to linger and savor and enjoy the moment. And time passes, we know, sometimes more quickly than we're ready for. And he and those of us who are privileged to spend time with him managed to create some very expansive moments amid all that rush of time. It's a paradox, a mystery. Something about Eric could make you feel easy, make you feel okay with slowing down a bit, relaxing, even where you knew what lay ahead. To Indiana and Sawyer, your dad loved you so much. He's so proud of the loving, open people you've become. Indy, so independent and carving out your own path. And Sawyer, quiet like your dad used to. I hope you stick pushing like your old man. I know you both know, but I'll say it again. You can count on your many, many uncles and aunties here and ever. We loved your dad and we love you. Julia, words can't express how deep your love for each other was. As his friends, we love to see how happy Eric was with you. We're both awed and thankful for your care and dedication and the sacrifices that you made in these past years. Thank you for sharing your strength and grace with Eric and with us. We love you, and we hope you know we're here for you also. So at this funeral I was talking about earlier, another man asks if he may say a word too, and he gets the nod, and he comes up and he says, infinity. Thank you, says the man's wife. That means more than you'll ever know. And it's another one of those mysteries that I just can't express. How can you be more, even in death? For those of you who know, that's a little bit of Bob Marley mixed with Obi-Wan Kenobi. As you departed Earth Station Kalihi, in your space canoe, Aloha 1, and your eggs are headed toward that big omelet in the sky, know, my brother, that you are limitless, infinite, and free. And that means, brother, we will love you and we don't make it easy for you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Calvert Chun. My father, Henry Chun, was the oldest, and Eric was one of his younger brothers. So the family was originally from the Kaimuki area. Eric is the youngest cousin, the youngest Chun cousin, and he was sort of like our golden boy, you know. We watched him grow up. Elroy, Peggy, and Eric used to come to our Aleva house often. Eric was always quiet, but grew to be athletic and physically attractive. And he was, he was an abstract thinker too. You know, he developed that as well. Once when he was in his early 30s and trimming trees at my house, there was a woman friend who happened to be over at that time. And she looks at Eric and she asked me, "That's your cousin?" And I said, "Yeah, why?" And she says, "Your blood cousin." And I says, "Yeah, why?" And she says, "What happened to you?" So all the male Chun cousins in the audience, come forward and stand right here. I'm just kidding. When ALS struck, we visited Eric frequently, usually at the Kalihi house. He always had a positive attitude that was outstanding. I mean, think about it. You know, if you were going through that, I used to think about that quite often, frankly. Towards the end, I held his hand as we made eye contact with each other, and I told him, "You are not in this alone. You are not in this alone." And he understood. God gives all of us one life on this earth. Eric was a devoted husband to Julia, father to India and Sawyer, and son to Elroy. But what I admired most about him is what actress Judy Garland said years ago. Always be a first-rate version of yourself instead of a second-rate version of somebody else. Always be a first-rate version of yourself instead of a second-rate version of somebody else. Thank you for letting me share.
So my connection to Eric is through his mother. My family became friends with his mother through, my mother owned a store on Maui for years, and his mom, when they lived here in Waimanalo, some of you may remember, owned an ornament company called Island Dakine, and Peggy was always the most whimsical and wonderful person, and we know that, of course, her spirit and her example of living life to full tilt was imbued right into Eric. And our family spent many, many wonderful times and celebrations and memories with Peggy and Eric and Elroy, and so many of you here, so many friends and relationships that were developed because of this wonderful, wonderful son and mother. And so we all carry in our hearts, you know, memories of wonderful camping trips and parties after another. And of course, I always remember Eric and doing Nagi. Anyway, when Melody and I were discussing, and some of you probably don't know this, but before Peggy passed, she wanted me to record an album. And so she gathered her friends together and said this needed to happen. And so I've always been so wonderfully grateful to this beautiful family. So when Melanie and I were discussing what to do today, I remembered that my first awareness and encountering of them was in Nuuanu Valley. And we know that they lived there in Nu'uanu for many, many years, and of course he spent the rest of his years in Kalihi. And we all know the beautiful mountains and ridge lines here on this island in particular, and the waterfalls that are ever present. And so the tradition of this song actually comes from this area as well. Jake Oka, when he was going to school at Kamehameha, he would travel over the Pali Highway and he would see those waterfalls, and his father told him that, you know, very present, just like the love when we are near each other and with each other, and you know, those times when we are in the presence of one another. And then even on the driest days, there is always water present. And so I think of this song as really Eric's presence with all of us, that while he is no longer no longer physically here with us, that like that waterfall, he will be ever present in our lives. And so India and to Sawyer, you know, particularly for you, I think of this. And so when you think of your dad, think of the waterfalls and think about his presence in your life. Aren't they fabulous?
I'm going to use the podium because it's so beautiful. I'd like to start with a poem by Maya Angelou that really resonated with me and captures the essence of the tumultuous emotions that surround illness and death. I apologize, I don't have the beautiful melodic voice of Maya Angelou, but I'll do my best. When great trees fall,
Rocks on distant hills shudder. Lions hunker down in tall grasses. And even elephants lumber after safety. When great trees fall in forests, small things recoil into silence, their senses eroded beyond fear. When great air around us becomes light, rare, sterile, we breathe briefly, our eyes briefly see with a hurtful clarity. Our memory, suddenly sharpened, examines, gnaws on kind words unsaid, promised walks never taken. Great souls die, and our reality, bound to them, takes leave of us. Our souls, depending upon their nurture, now shrink, wizened. Our minds, formed and informed by their radiance, fall away. We are not so much maddened as reduced to the unutterable ignorance of dark, cold caves. And when great souls die, after a period, peace blooms, slowly and always irregularly. Spaces fill with a kind of soothing electric vibration. Our senses restored, never to be the same, whisper to us. They existed. They existed. We can be and be better, for they exist. I hope I can get through the rest of this. My name is Camille Richard. I'm the youngest of 8 out of an ever larger clan of Richards and Adams. My sister Peggy Chun and her twin Bobby Segler were the oldest, and they were connected at the hip and soul. Then 5 brothers came along, and then me 16 years later. With the passing of my mother, that has left me as the matriarch of the family. Go figure, I never wanted to be the matriarch. I like being the baby. But here I am, representing the crazy, coon-ass Cajun Richard family. Woohoo! Of which Eric was an integral part. I won't tell you what my dad used to call him because it's a little racist. But he's proud to be here to represent this family. They wanted to be here, but with all the insanity going on in this world these days, it was difficult for everyone to get here. But they helped me put this together and are here in spirit and watching via the live link. Where's that? Hi, Crazy Richard family. Special thanks to Damon and Jason Segler. They are the sons of Peggy's twin sister, Bobby, and also connected heart and soul to Eric. They were fortunate to be here with Eric when he passed. I've had the fortune to know Eric since he was a baby and to watch him grow into the great soul and giant tree who nurtured the ecosystem around him. He was only 9 years younger than me and was always more like a little brother to me than a nephew. And oh, what fun we had together. As everyone else is expressing, it's great. Eric loved life. He lived it to the fullest and took nothing for granted. Surfing, paddling, fishing, hiking, climbing trees, and kicking ass. He rarely wore a shirt and never left home in anything but his slippers. And I'm sorry, I still call them flip-flops. My apologies. He was brilliant. He was artistically gifted, created magic with his hands, and made some of the best amateur movies, complete with sound effects, top-notch cinematography, and wildly entertaining plot lines. He could make anyone laugh with his sharp wit and his incessant need to turn everything into a song. As an artist, Eric always explored so many mediums for expression. Creativity was never short of abundance. Sculptures of wood tables with of other forms of artistic endeavors, which are too many to count. His business endeavors were also a great success, one living for many people His heart was in Colorado, and he visited Silas and I live. He loved to fish, hike, and go four-wheeling, but he especially cherished the hunt for mushrooms with his granddad, Joe. Eric was also a winter sports enthusiast and also traveled to snowboard. Eric made many epic trips, but his last trip in 2019 to Mammoth was his favorite. We didn't had already been diagnosed always the entire family. He also took amazing care of Elroy Indian and their fully present for his loved and cherished her as his best friend, soulmate, lover, and confidant. What a beautiful and deep love they share. A love that will continue to grow. He loved being around that are just too numerous to mention, and dozens of other experiences, both the Richard and Chun sides of the family. As a cousin brother to Damon and Jason, his loyalty was bar none. A young Eric would always have a video camera in hand to record his favorite moments with his family. Those videos still exist today and are a wonderful reminder of how much every moment spent with Eric was precious. Eric was incredibly loyal to those he loved. He was a type of man. He was an unconditional spirit that would not only listen to you, but he would respond with wisdom and understanding, something we should all strive to emulate. If I had to sum up Eric's life in one word, it would be love, and capital, radiated love, and we were all drawn to its warmth. He has left us this legacy of love, the way of the peaceful warrior. As mentioned earlier, Eric was a champion for the ALS community. Eric was fortunate to get involved in a new ALS drug trial and early experience the frustrations of dealing with a flawed medical system. His resilience throughout his fight was truly inspiring. He was fighting for his cure and put his body through hell and constant exhaustion to help the entire community of ALS patients, praying for answers and advocating for change. I posted about Eric's death on one of the Facebook ALS advocacy. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Hundreds of people responded with words of condolence and descriptions of Eric as inspiring, a beacon of light, and one who made a massive difference in getting Hawaii's politicians on board for the Act for ALS, which passed with a unanimous vote in the Senate last fall. He could not have done this without the love and thank you. He could not have done this without the love and care of his wife, Julia. She gave him the inspiration and drive to keep living and fight the good fight. My niece and I have been give her a big round of applause. My niece Tina and I have been participating in what's called the Pre-Familial ALS Research Study at University of Miami since 2008, which aims to seek early diagnostic tools and to identify what triggers bring on onset in those of us with the genetic predisposition for this horrid disease. I have to admit that in recent years, while watching Eric and now my brother Peter decline from this disease, I've been ready to throw in the towel and quit the study, but then what's the point? There's no effective cure. But then I remember Eric and his commitment to the ALS community and to his own ALS reversal. He, along with my brother Peter, have given me the courage to keep moving forward, to live well and to laugh at life's absurdities, and to have faith that all will be okay despite the outcomes. I hope the part I play in research helps others, even if it may not directly benefit me. This is the true gift of aloha that Eric embodied. Indian Sawyer, do not fear this disease. There is a large ALS research and advocacy network fighting for people to participate in trials and to gain access to compassionate, life-saving drugs. By the time you would even think of getting this disease, there will be a cure. Your father fought hard for this, and I too will do the same. I will not give in to fear and despair. Plus, I have an amazing son who keeps me motivated to live a good and full life. Fortunately, he does not carry my genes, so he is safe from this scourge. Yay! I have visited Hawaii at least a dozen times, and each time I feel more and more part of this grand ohana. You have all welcomed our family over the years with open arms and aloha hospitality. My family ties expand along with my heart, so full of love and gratitude for what Eric and you all have brought into our lives. Okay, here comes the fun part. I'd like to end this talk with one of Eric's favorite phrases that he would say during every family visit, especially after quite a few cocktails. I want you all to repeat after me and say it loud and clear so that we can send Eric off well this beautiful day today. So I'm going to say the phrase and then count 1, 2, 3. Repeat after me. Ready? The family never dies. 1, 2, 3.
The family never dies.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Abby Yim. I'm Eric's cousin from California, and my papa was Eric's Auntie Wilma, Elroy's sister. I want to thank Julia for gifting me with the honor of representing the mainland Chun and Yim family to share reflections of love about Eric. A few months back, I was working with a mentor, and he asked me to share 5 fundamental stories in my life of who I am. I instantly thought of family, of my radiant papa for modeling how to host a dinner party while wearing a bold, chic red lipstick, of my incredibly cool cousin, Sean Shadal, for teaching me the art of charm and nerve while mingling and working it with industry talent at the Asian American Film Festival in San Francisco, and also of my lovely cousin, Eric Chun, for teaching me about the transformational effects of tenderness during time when Chun was sick and dying. A group of our cousins gathered around the impersonal and bleak Los Angeles hospital room and cried as we watched Uncle Al in his final moments. Eric had flown in from Hawaii to be with Uncle Al as he passed, as he would later also do when my papa, his Auntie Wilma, was in her final days. Eric consistently showed up to honor family. Uncle Al wasn't conscious then, and I remember it being very quiet, all of us really unsure of what to do. I remember that Eric had brought a pikaki lei with him from Hawaii, and that as us younger cousins watched, Eric slowly walked over to Uncle Al's bed and tenderly, with the utmost grace, brought the lei just under Uncle Al's nose so that he could smell a piece of Hawaii, a memory of home, and to experience the pleasure of beauty in his final moments. Eric held the lei there generously, not rushing, as he softly kissed Uncle Al's cheek. And I remember being so overwhelmed by Eric's tenderness, at his presence, at his ability to bring something so warm so loving, so poetic into a cold hospital room. In that moment, that impersonal, sad clinical room instantly transformed to a place that felt sacred, incandescent with love. Eric did that. Eric transformed that space and created a memory for all of us witnessing his actions, teaching us what tenderness can be. I think of that moment often. In moments when people are at their worst, when grief and pain is thick and seemingly unmovable, Eric taught me to ask, is there a way to be tender now? Is there a way to bring in beauty? Is there a way to bring in generosity, to bring in grace? I'll forever be grateful to my beautiful cousin for showing me how to be more tender, more humane, to find beauty in the hardest of moments, like standing here today, saying goodbye to someone we all love so much. Thank you.
Mahalo to Daniel, Calvert, Camille, and Abby for those touching tributes. And thank you, Malia, for sharing that beautiful and very meaningful mele with us. Speaking of mele, the next mele is in honor of the extraordinary love between Eric and Julia. Julia referred to Eric as her angel, and Eric referred to Julia as his angel, and thus a friend coined the term, two angels in love. Eric used to sing the beautiful song, He Aloha Mele, to his angel wife, Julia. It was the first song that he was unable to play when ALS affected his hands. Mahalo to classmate and friend Brooke Lee and Eric's band, the Bus Boys, for continuing where Eric left off with this beautiful tribute to two angels in love. so beautiful. Brooke, busboys, mahalo nui.
So, my name is Melody Heidel, classmate and good friend of Eric's. And you'll see in the program we had intended to have a short slideshow right now. We do still have it for you, but instead it will be after the services, Paul. You can go in this downstairs living room and we'll have it looping throughout the Pla'ina. So we just invite you and welcome you to go in and see this beautiful montage that has been put together for today. And so in closing today, before we head out for our paddle out, I'd just like to offer a few words and blessing. Ua olo loko ike aloha. Love gives life within. Eric Keala Chun lived fully and loved deeply, and so he remains with us always, holding us with that twinkle in his eye, that irreplaceable smile, and a love without bounds. On behalf of Eric's Ohana and all of us who hold him dear, we are grateful to be together in this beautiful space, to collectively share our love for him, to remember and celebrate him. So as I stand here touching this beautiful creation of Eric's, into which he inserted the moon and the stars on each side, and which holds his mana, his beauty, his creativity, his spirit, I leave you with this blessing by Buddhist poet Zhengzhu. May the sweet light of change shine in the darkness. May the first breath of each morning begin life again. May the memories unfold as prayers for life. May the love continue to fill the silence. Now please join me, many of you know this, in singing the traditional Irish blessing, which we classmates and Eric enjoyed at the closing of every Punahou chapel. Thank you, Dad. It's called May the Road Rise to Meet You, and the lyrics are in your program. So please join me. May the road rise to meet you. May the wind blow at your back. May the sun shine warmly on your face. May the rains fall softly on your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. May God hold you in the palm of his hand. So mahalo for being here today, everyone, to honor Eric. We're going to take a 15-minute break right now to prepare for the paddle out, allow folks to change, to gather their water toys, maybe throw a bathing suit on. There will be some loose flowers for you to take and use to scatter if you like, thanks to many classmates. And for those of you joining us online with the live stream, it will resume in about 15 minutes with footage from our drone. And friend and classmate Ian Masterson, who will be doing a blessing out on the water and kind of guiding us through the process of taking Eric out on the canoe again. Feels just right. So thank you, Ian, for helping with this tradition, and to Blair and everyone who helped put that together. So we'll see you in 15 minutes. And please stick around, join us for the Pa'ina afterwards. There will be refreshments, there will be food and more music from the busboys. And we're just so glad everyone could be here today. We'll see you down on the water.
this. I don't know what